charging away.
And that. And now they should hear us and they should be able to see us if everything is working. Yeah, so let's hope that YouTube works. I went in there quickly and saw that it might not. We will see how it goes today. So welcome to the show today, David. I'm very happy to have you back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah, like it feels like forever since we did this, but it's not that long ago.
Exactly. No, it's funny, because I just remembered it was on my birthday, and that was 2 months ago. And I'm thinking to myself, it feels like a half a year or a year at least. So much has happened. I mean, especially in terms of my as a matter of fact, I'm glad I didn't move faster, as we can maybe go into, because so much has happened in that time, and so many new ideas, so many new. Generally, I mean, if you just look at the Wax platform, it's like a completely different platform than 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for over 2 years, and whatever happens in a week can be what happens in other places in months. Like it sometimes it goes crazy fast. How has that been for you?
Actually, it has been very, very, very exciting. I've been very positively surprised. I started out with pretty much no expectations, or not knowing where this is going to go, and like in 2 months, it's sort of like the biggest problem has become the freelance job that were hangovers basically from February that stopped me from going full speed ahead. But the idea was always been from the beginning on to sort of like, because there was no real budget, there's no big company, this is not a corporate thing, so let's just start out making really nice cards. That was the focus. Okay, let's just see how far we can go with this, basically. And that was really a good decision, basically, as opposed to anybody who is technically proficient with designs and stuff like that. Try to make better cards, try to outdo the big boys. Seriously, people catch on to quality, because
they do.
There isn't that much work out there yet. You actually can get noticed. And I was able to really build up a following, and I can see we have 3 chapter drops so far in those 2 months, basically, and it literally went up a third to almost double each chapter drop. And it was fantastic. Everybody's been great.
Yeah, like, okay, and I don't know where we should start. I mean, we have so many things we need to discuss today, and not only on Wax, because you're also doing NFTs on other places. So I wanna dig into that as well. But your sale, we talked a little bit about it before. You are doing a sale in a way that today is something that very few are doing, which you are minting the NFTs and then listing them on the market, on the secondary market. There are other collections doing this, but almost everyone do the mint on demand. And there are pros and cons on both of them.
Correct.
So how has that process been for you?
Yes, I mean, I started out because I just didn't know any better. And let's be honest, if you're it's true. I mean, you're starting out on Wax to do your drops before NFT blocks. It's difficult. Let's be honest. And everybody will admit that. So that wasn't really a choice. So it was hard enough for me to get the whole concept and the cards done, because remember, it's not just doing the artwork for the cards. The cards have to be animated. They have to be design wise. It has all to be fit. Then you have to do the back cards. You have to write the text. And like in my case, I actually have to have huge lists with all the points, and so it works for the actual game. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. It's actually probably spent almost more time behind the scenes than actually doing just the artwork. And so that was in itself a real big task. So I figured, you know what, let me just put them on the market. And I made a couple of mistakes early on, and thank God a lot of the collectors were really nice and say, hey, you know what, maybe you should do it like this, maybe you should do it like that, and you learned. And then you pointed out NFT Hive, which
Yep.
you can upload bulk and bulk on the market, list bulk on the market, sorry. And that really put a new perspective in. And then we had the problem that a lot of collectors, a lot of the hardcore collectors of mine are in different places of the world. Okay. So then one of the concepts is also that I have these gold cards. There's only 6 of them, and everybody wants to jump on them. So how do you make it that it is fair for everybody? If I make drops and I drop it all at the same time, there's going to be a big scramble for all those gold cards. And then some people are going to get really upset because somebody's going to snipe, and then they're not going to get anything. So I figured the way to do this, I mean, let's be honest, the second drop was not good, but it was not my fault entirely. It was also because that was the Alien Worlds.
Yeah,
They did the
exactly. The captcha was hard for you.
The capture, it was hard for everybody, even people buying. It was just a bad time,
It
basically.
was great for me.
Yeah, well, it slowed everything down to a crawl. So anybody who wanted to buy stuff was probably in a better position because you had more time. But in order to get it organized, and when you do those kind of things, that's also kind of like what I learned. When you do those kind of things, you have to really make sure you have enough RAM and you have enough staked and stuff like that, so you don't run out. Because NFT Hive will keep going to a certain point, and then it will just block completely. And then you have to go, you have to take, do more staking and this and that, and you have to break everything down and reload it up. It's, once you get at that point, that's not good. Then the third break, basically, people were saying, oh, well, you should do drops. But then I realized, like, well, with the knowledge I have now, I can probably do the entire drop in about a half an hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I basically says, listen, we're just going to have one segment uploaded every 5 minutes. So you have 5 minutes time to make your purchase. And that ended up being a really, really good decision.
And also there is a great secondary aspect of that, where all the bots that are built right now to buy things, they are built for drops.
Correct.
They buy from the drops. There are those that buy on market if the price of the NFTs is way lower than the standard price of that type of NFT. Then there are bots that scoop them up. So if you list something by mistake for a very low price, it's sold within seconds. So those kinds of bots are there, but that doesn't apply when there's a new listing of an NFT where everything has a base price and you can actually buy exactly what you want. So this is great for collectors. It's great to keep the supply there, and honestly, more collections should probably do this.
And another thing that is really interesting that maybe should be mentioned is probably the biggest deterrent as to why I did not do the drops on Nifty Block, for example, is the stagger pricing. When you have like a gold card, you only have 6 of them. Now the question is, do you price all 6 of them at the highest price that you have set, or you put them in a lowest price?
Yeah.
It's much better if you have them staggered. So the number 1 mint will cost logically more, and then it just gets staggered down to the number 6, and you can do that for all the cards, basically. You can't really do that with drops, as far as I know. You have to basically determine a price per template.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the one that is fastest will get the lowest mint.
Exactly.
Terry has a question why you are not doing packs. I know the answer to that, but you can answer it as well.
Yeah, I've been obviously asked this many times, Terry. This is the most asked question generally, and it's not because I don't like packs. It's because it's a conceptual thing. We have like that will be very visible on the website, which I'm working on, which keeps getting huge. But we can get into this. What's actually on the website? The reason is basically that I want to do the starter pack, 86 cards, that makes the whole thing really playable, so I can actually start really get the engine and mechanism going. And after that, the boosters will be packs. So we'll make booster sets basically that will be thematic, and there will be packs. So there will be like every couple months or so there will be a drop. That imagine like the early days of Magic the Gathering. You had like your
Yeah.
base things, and then you had like the Ice Age. You had like all those different thematic booster sets, basically. And it's kind of like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's nice. Like, I mean, I love packs. I love opening packs. I think it's great, but I also like when you like some kind of collection, when you find some kind of NFT from that collection design or whatever it is that you really like. It's nice to be able to just buy that one that you want. And for
First of
those
all,
that
that.
just want to collect things, it's awesome.
First of all, that, and I think what differentiates sort of like what I'm doing is I want to keep it artisan as long as I can, to really sort of make a distinction. Yeah, a lot of people think there's a huge team working because the stuff does look very polished, but it looks polished because I've been doing it for a long while.
Yeah.
It's not because it's just one person, but I want to keep that artisan sort of like handmade way because people keep saying, oh well, you should be bigger, you should have this and this and that, but you don't understand. If I get bigger, then I will not be approachable anymore. I will not have the time to talk to everybody on Telegram or on YouTube or wherever I'm talking to you, basically. I will be like every other company. Can you call up the guy from Tops and ask him a question? No, he will never talk to you.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of avoid getting to that point for as long as I humanly can and still make, being a profits.
Yeah, and like it's a hard balance there.
Yeah.
'Cause I am at the same place personally. Like I am doing all the work myself, except posting my Instagram posts. That is the only thing I
Oh,
am not
really?
doing.
I
I
didn't know.
am answering all comments, all DMs, everything on Instagram,
Right.
but I do not post the Instagram images because I feel like I can't do that in a timely manner. So I have a Pedro, a guy in the community, is helping me with that. So
Huh.
that is the only thing that I am not doing myself. And I am struggling nowadays. I cannot keep up with everything, and that is very hard.
That's becoming more and more of an issue, basically, because as many of you may know, I'm not just doing Chaos Moon. I got another thing called the Girls of Bunvale, which is still smaller because we're not really starting until the school year starts in September. But then it will basically be daily, and there will be a website, and I'll have to explain how to collect this because it's obviously not really clear. And then I have the Sky Gods thing, which is right now it's like let sleeping dogs lie. It's kind of resting, but once that erupts, this will be a huge thing, basically. And I'm struggling with those. I mean, not struggling really, but I spend a considerable amount of time posting on all the channels those three projects.
Yeah.
And now,
It,
thank God, I've been, especially with Sky Gods, I've been working at this since about 2018. So I have thousands of images, literally thousands of them, and I can combine and I can always find something to upload because there's always new people coming in. So once you have a bank of like thousands of images, like same with Chaos Moon, I have like thousands of images. And once you have this kind of what do you call it, a gallery of stuff, then you can always find something to upload.
with that, like I guess you have a huge storage for digital assets. Do you have it on your property? Do you rent this service in the cloud for it? Because losing all that data is that's painful.
That is exactly right. I have about four backup drives, and but I'm actually, it's funny that you mentioned it because I've been thinking about this. I may actually rent a deposit box at the bank, just put one drive in there. No, seriously, you're absolutely correct. This if the house burns down, and as you can see, this is wood. This
Yeah.
won't take too much. I mean, knock on wood. I don't want the house to burn down, but I'm just saying that this is my life. If my backup drives burn, I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, and that is a relevant thing for everyone in crypto as well, because we all have assets we have to protect, and if we lose that access to them, they're gone.
The problem is with cloud services, I may have to look into that more, but the data I have is so big. My backup drives are each 4 terabytes. They're almost all full. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is 20 years of digital assets. I mean, it's just the Bonville girls alone. I mean, that's hundreds of, it's like 550 drawings.
Yeah.
It's all high res.
And Nick in the chat has a good suggestion there to have like a NAS, a network storage unit at your house that is also synced to another one at another location. So as soon as you add an image there, it will also go to another
That
place.
is a good point. Yeah, yeah.
That you will always have at least 2 or 3 or 4 backups of it, and you can have one cloud server rented for it. You can, or just a storage server somewhere as a backup, and then you would have this digital backup of everything you want there.
That will be more important anyway as I go along, as I start working with devs, that may not necessarily live like around the corner, or I work with other artists, because let's be honest, what I'm doing right now is in the long term not sustainable. There's only so much I can do, and I'm not getting, no offense to myself, but I'm not getting any younger. And it's like, yeah, I'm faster and I'm better now, basically, but I also can't work all night anymore like I used to when I was young.
But you don't want to either. Like you can do it in some days, but most days, like
I didn't care when I was 20. When I used to work at Marvel at the time, I did that during school, and that was like sort of the problem. But I was so enthusiastic, and I was so into it basically that I didn't care. I come home from school at 2:30 from art school, and I would draw till like 3, 4 in the morning, and then get up, at 7, 8 to school. Of course, falling asleep several times, and then come back and I do that, and like every second week I would stay up 2 nights in a row. It's like for 48 hours. And you can do that when you're 20 something, then yeah, of course you get tired at some point. And I did get burned out after about a year and a half. I was really done.
yeah, it's not sustainable and in any way, but I mean, when everything is so fun and exciting, it's easy to do. And now that you mentioned Marvel, I mean, we talked about this last time, but just to name drop everything, because it will add credibility to everything you're doing. People will love it. What kind of brands have you worked with before, and what kind of cartoons have you been drawing and
Oh boy, oh boy.
comics?
Yeah, that's a long, long list. That pretty much, I mean, the idea was always I loved Spider-Man as a kid. So Spider-Man was sort of like my dream job until I got it, and it became a nightmare because all the little web things to draw, and it's a pain in the ass, sorry to say. But yeah, Marvel, I did Excalibur, I did Spider-Man, I did Night Thrasher, I did X-Men, Ghost Rider, a whole bunch. Probably forget some of them, but did that for about a year and a half. Then I was so burned out that I had to take a little time off. I did a lot of trading cards. I did the Marvel Metal trading cards. That was huge at the time. Trading cards were like the biggest thing. I remember when we had a signing in New York, there was like hundreds of people there. Unimaginable today, but there's like those little metal trading cards. They're kind of nice. Or the early Photoshop things. So basically I would do like the stuff on pencils, and then the guy would sort of like paint it in Photoshop. Then I moved on. I did Elf Quest. I don't know if you know what that is.
I recognize the name.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy comic from the late 70s. It was a self-published comic, and they started expanding in the 90s. And I did a series for them that lasted for about 6 issues. Then I went on to DC Comics. I did Batman there, so Justice League, Superman, a whole bunch of stuff basically. But yeah, there you go. Like there, the top left.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one's Kitty Pryde, and then we have Nova. And yeah, exactly. Some of those cards, they were like absolutely gigantic. And I did stuff for Acclaim. They had some video game stuff I did on there. Magnus the Robot Fighter. Then I went to Top Cow. Then Top Cow, I did a lot of stuff. Maybe you guys remember Tomb Raider and like all those Eidos comics. Soul Reaver, The Legacy of Kain. I did the ill-fated John Romero comic, the Sword of Daikatana. That was like the game that broke him basically. And I also broke Eidos. And I did Witchblade, Darkness, Ascension, a whole variety of stuff there. And then I did a lot of things that people don't see is the advertisement work that I've done. I mean, I work for McDonald's, Porsche, pretty much every major brand, doing storyboards, layouts, all that kind of stuff. Andy Murray, tennis player, that was a big campaign. That was a huge campaign. And most notably, recently for the Swiss watch company Audemars Piguet, I did worked on a Black Panther watch marketing campaigns. So yeah,
So
just
you have done nothing, no comics, just been home chilling.
yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, speaking of not doing any comics, in the last 10 years, I've published 32 graphic novels on my own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you were bored, you didn't have anything to do.
yeah. It's like I'm just sitting around, and I got little elves everywhere doing the work for me, slaves like child labor. No, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
So yeah, so this is a watch that you have been.
Involved with. Yeah, I mean, this is a big concept. I mean, it's so funny. Somebody wrote to me, I think on Instagram, it's like, oh, so cute, I want to buy this watch. I'm like, yeah, do you have $275,000?
I take two.
Yeah,
It's more expensive than a Lambo.
yeah, those watches are all basically pre-sold. I mean, Audemars is a traditional Swiss watch company, and most I saw a list of where the watches are going. It's mostly going to like Asia and Arabia, like those kind of places. In the
Yeah.
US, I think like 2 watches stayed in Switzerland out of 250 watches. And all the it's like big actors like Don Cheadle. He's like one of the major collectors. You know.
Yeah, and Nick has a good comment here. The guy's resume is longer than the average comic book he's drawn.
Well, I'm not so sure about the average. Yes, I've done my actually people always laugh at this basically, but it's sort of like a semi-autobiographical comic about my time in the US called Endless Sky, and
Yeah.
that's 300 pages. So that was pretty long.
Yeah, 300 pages is a long comic.
That took a minute.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so like people can go to your Instagram. It's linked in the YouTube description if you wanna find out. You are kind of active there, posting things. At least you have
Okay.
been for the last while.
Yeah, the personal Instagram, I do one post. On Sky Gods, I do at least 4 posts a day. On Chaos Moon, I do 3 posts, and on Bonville, I do 2 to 3 posts every day.
Every day.
Every day. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, these days, that's how you build up a following. There's
Yeah.
always new people who come in because a lot of the older people, a lot of older fans of mine, quite frankly, they're dying out. They're old. They're not really. It's a sad state of affair in comic books, basically, that like they'll lose interest or they can't follow you here. So I have to acquire newer, younger flesh, blood, so to speak. And they usually come through social media.
Yeah, and now with NFTs, like the space is very small, so you and there's a lot of people that are willing to put in time into it. So, like, it's really a place to build an audience as well with new people.
Absolutely. And I noticed that for my type of artwork, it's been very good. I don't have that much competition, compared to like when I put out a comic. Marvel puts out 100 comics a month. And let's be honest, like Jeff Smith, the guy from Bone, the creator from Bone, he said something very unflattering to me once at the convention. He says, David, your artwork's nice, but there's thousands of people that can do the same or better. And I was like, thank you very much. I appreciate that, but he's not completely wrong. So my thinking basically has been over the years, it's less the technical aspect of it and more the conceptual aspect. So Sky Gods, for example, and Chaos Moon are very much conceptual pieces. Where yes, the artwork is proficient, but it's not something that nobody else cannot do. And so at the end of the day, what I really want to create is this world that you want to spend time in. And of course, we're still quite far away from this because I need the website, I need the DApp, I need this all to work together. But you're starting out with the cards and people are already noticing, they're seeing the cards and they get this feeling of like, well, that looks really interesting. That's really nice. The atmosphere. It's not just a drawing, the atmosphere of the cards with the text, with the concept, with the mythological creatures. It's a world that you want to spend time in.
Yeah, like that is really needed. Like you need something. You can't just put out an image and then leave it and hope people will engage with it.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. But go on OpenSea or go on Foundation or any of those places. The Eve places are full. I mean, if you subscribe to like Facebook groups, for example, that NFT collectors and whatever they're called, there are littered with people saying, "Why is nobody buying my NFT?" And they put like some kind of artwork, like even children's artwork at times. Just like stuff, just random stuff. And I have like a guy that I'm sort of mentoring, a younger artist in the US, is really like mid-20s or something like that. And we were just talking about it yesterday, and he wants to like, I told him to get some stuff ready to upload on the coming Binance chain NFT website,
Yeah.
because that's going to be a good place for newcomers. And they're probably going to be more advanced than some of the Binance chain NFT sites that are out there right now, which are really not good. And
No.
no, they're
And
terrible. And I told him, like, you have to, when you upload something, you have to make it conceptual. You have to sort of have a collection of something that's cohesive, that people can get into. If you just upload a random piece of work and say, oh, this is like my lizard drawing or whatever, and nobody will look at it.
no, they won't. And I actually see a lot of small creators. They create their drops. They put in a lot of time, and then they have no idea why they are not selling it. They don't have a website, so people can't even read about it. And they do not have any personal information, so people can't even check if they actually done it. They have no history, so you can't verify, hey, have this person actually done anything in the past? Or is this someone that just have gone to some place and just stole art? Or like there are a lot of people that do that. Some people create a, well, I mean, it's not hard to create a website and then just steal things from other places, and then you get to sell things until people find out. But it's kind of obvious if you just take a step back and you look at it.
Well, we're at the point now where, okay, good. So maybe somebody like me doesn't have a huge amount of competition, but for the average NFT person, we're still in VAX. We've got 30 million NFTs. You know, I mean, we're getting into the millions and millions, and that is big competition for somebody that just wants to start out with.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. I mean, yeah, I get a lot of requests to help people get out, and usually what I do is I advise them to what I think they can do to add value and to build a community, and I think that is very important. How are you managing multiple collections and on different blockchains, because they have different communities?
That is true, and that's one of the things that I really learned when people. I actually posted a couple of times on Facebook about that. When always people keep saying, like, what makes or breaks a collection, and I say the community. You know, more basic. Yeah. It's true. It's more. If you think about it, why did people sell this piece of art for $69 million? It wasn't the actual piece of art that was worth it. You know, people's stuff is average at best. It's okay, but it's not fantastic. You know, and he knows, he's the first person to admit that. But he sold a story. The Beeple piece, 13 years or 15 years a piece every day, or 5 years. I forgot. It's like some long time, basically.
5,000 days, I think it is.
It's a 5,000 days, exactly. Yeah. For 6 days. It's the story. And the guy who bought it, he bought it because he wanted to brag with it. It was a marketing gag for him. He didn't buy it because he was a big fan. So you see, basically, you're not just selling the actual physical piece of art or the physical piece of NFT. You're actually selling the story behind it, the person behind it, all those other things, basically. And my situation is such that I, like, you know, as Nick admitted before, I have a long history of stuff that I also do own. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I've done for other people I do not own, but I also own a lot of work. And a lot of work is very different. And I think it would be a mistake to use certain types of work and just squeeze it all, like in a wax thing, for example, you know, or all into the ETH thing or whatever, you know. So I went out to basically find the best place, the best home. It's like, imagine you can't have your children, you have to give them off. You go to the best foster home you can find for them, you know, so to speak. But so
and also, like, the space is very new. Even though wax is very attractive right now, there might be other places that will also be very attractive. Like Phantasma Chain is building a lot of cool things. One of the coolest blockchain games, like how they utilize NFTs in that game, is very nice. And they have a ghost market which is improving. Like, I went there yesterday and it's way better now than it was just a few weeks or months ago.
Excellent, because I was going to upload something next week on there, because people keep asking me about that, because I do have a collection. It's mostly my ethnic artwork. Yeah. Yes, you know, I mean, it has nothing to do with Chaos Moon. It's more like African inspired, sort of like adventure type of stuff. It's very, very different, basically. But on Ghost Market, I haven't really looked at it because I'm so distressed by the way the soul fell. I looked at my my poltergeist wallet, and I almost fell off my chair. I was like, that cannot be right. And thank God I staked the soul, so at least I'm getting a little kcal. Otherwise I'll be yeah, there you go.
I'm very scared to be on this market and live streaming, by the way, because they're like this not safe for work. It doesn't work. I just tried it yesterday to see if I could hide
Oh,
everything,
really?
and it doesn't, because everyone do not tag it like that. So I'm very like, this is just your things, but I'm very afraid to actually go and
My
browse
thing
that.
is all safe. It's all safe for work, basically. But the point basically is that with Ghost Market, community is fantastic. They're really super nice, the nicest people. I mean, they're all nice. I mean, if you're really in the community, Wax community is great, Tesla is great, Ghost Market. There's some communities that are not so great. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not so happy about the EVE community, to be honest with you. But that's a separate story. On Ghost Market, people are great. The only problem that I have with Ghost Market is the volume is just really low. The trading volume. They actually do display that, and you can see, and it's last time I checked was like under 10 grand a week. And for Wax, we'll laugh at that basically and say we'll do that like in a hot minute. I mean, that's like nothing. So the
Yeah.
trading volume isn't really that great. I sold about a third of what I've uploaded. I uploaded the mints were I uploaded too many in the beginning. And so I sort of like lowered it a little, and that was good decision. So you start by like trial and error, trying to find out what you can charge and how many you can mint. And that's like one of those things that nobody can really answer for you, because every piece is different. Every community and every market is different. So you have to kind of find that out by yourself. Like, for
And
example,
you can be like me. I have 9 mint number ones from
oh
your
wow.
first 2, or 8, I think it is. Yeah, 8 of mint number ones. So I have a bunch mint number 1, mint number 2. Like mint number 2. I have a crazy amount, and number 3 I also have a crazy amount. And these are all from the first and the second collection.
Right.
I do have some from the third, but I do not have as sweet ones as these.
Yeah, those are great, and they will never be redone. That's the great thing about the NFTs, is that the finality of it all. And I have to explain this to people over and over and over again, and that's really the concept that a lot of people having a hard time with, for it to really sink in.
Yeah, and what I really like about Wax, like the NFTs, is that there are a lot of sales for a low price. Like, if you want to get some NFTs, it's not a big entry point. There,
Right.
like, just buying NFTs. If you want to buy a few NFTs, you do not need to stake Wax. You do not need to do anything like that. The Wax wallet and Atomic Hub will pay all your transactions. They will cover everything. If you go and start to play games and you start to utilize the Wax blockchain, then you will need more staked Wax. If you are a creator and do a lot of transactions, then you need more Wax. But for a user, you just sign up with the social media, you go, and okay, you need a little bit of Wax to get it, or you get the free NFT, which costs you nothing, and then you can sell it for perhaps half a Wax, perhaps 10 Wax, perhaps 100 Wax if you're very lucky. And then you have something you can start to trade with, and you can acquire more NFTs. And if you're active, you can actually find the good sales, and then you can earn like a small portion at the time, but you can keep increasing that Wax amount, and it's addicting when you start doing that.
Yeah, that's a great concept. I mean, once you get around the whole concept of it, and once you're really in it, it's really easy. It's probably the easiest way. I have to say, Ghost Market is the hardest. The barrier to entry is just insane on that chain, and they have to change that at some point. I mean, to buy it, it's easier now, but to participate in, I'm only on there because some of the community members were kind enough to give me some kcal. Other than that, you have practically no way of getting into it, and I think that's one of the reasons why Ghost Market hasn't really broken out huge. I mean, if you see, for example, what's happening with Teslas right now, which is a lot easier to get into. The big problem that Teslas has is that they only have 1-2 wallets, and both of them are not very good. No, I mean, this is objective. This is they only don't have that many downloads. You have Temple and Kukai. Kukai is great because it works with Twitter. So you can actually, if you do a giveaway, you can send it through Twitter. So that's a fantastic feature. But Kukai and Temple don't like, or I don't know, they don't interact. So that's a problem. And it's much harder to make accounts and put tokens in and stuff compared to MetaMask. I find MetaMask fairly easy to use. But for most average person, even that is too much.
Yeah, it is. And like I have never used Tesos. I know about it, but which market should people go if they want to find your stuff there?
There's two markets that are really big. The Hikenonk,
Yeah.
which is Latin for here and now. Hell knows why they chose that name. It's not apparent to me, but that is a very stripped down, almost avant-garde kind of place. And the other one is Columint. It's actually done by two Indian guys. They got some funding from what's it called? Some venture fund in the US. Columint.io. And they're pretty good. That technology works absolutely flawlessly. The minting is practically, it's like Binance chain type of cost. It's not as cheap as
I'm trying to just view if it's safe to open it on stream, and I tried to locate your NFTs, but there's not really a search function.
I don't have, forget it. I don't have anything. I've been working with Columint behind the scenes. I have not actually. I've been part of their testnet, but that has, of course, all been erased. We're on mainnet now, so testnet doesn't. But you can see it's a pretty clean interface. That was version 1. I think they're working on a more upgradable kind of thing. But it has essentially, if you mint on it, it's essentially the same features that like most ETH sites have. It's very, very similar, but it just works a lot faster, a lot cheaper, and a lot more efficient.
And this is the one that I will never remember the name from.
Yeah, I like the logo. I have to say, I really like the logo on top. It's kind of
logo is great, and you really get to view one NFT at a time.
Yeah,
but there are no search functions.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very bare bones. Basically, you have to be logged in with the wallet to really get the full thing out of it. But I think Tezos is coming. There's a few projects on there that are going to be coming on big, and they've been making deals like left and right. It's now they did a deal with Red Bull and Formula One, and which I found so ironic. That makes me laugh. So Red Bull and Formula One make a deal with Tezos because Tezos is environmentally friendly. Meanwhile, Formula One is probably the worst thing for the environment since the invention of the car.
That's why they have to do all the good deals.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I mean, how dumb do you think people are? I mean, this is so transparent.
Yeah.
And then I have a collection on ETH, which you should now open up. On Unique. I don't know if you ever heard of that platform, Unique One.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger ETH platforms. There may be what you have your really top 5 ETH places. Unique One is like one of the bigger of the second tier, I would say, basically.
Yeah.
And that came mostly about because they paid for the minting.
Okay.
Because that's the
it's
problem.
very expensive to mint. Yeah.
You can't sell a piece for $10 or like $20 or whatever, if the minting's $80 or $120, it's just not happening. So you have to at least double it up. And that's just, it's cost prohibitive. But I did sell some on there. The artwork's nice. But of course, it's much harder to sell a piece for $200-$300 than it is a piece for $5.
Yeah, and on top of that $200-$300, depending on when you do it, you have the transaction cost, which is sometimes it's just $5 or $10, and if you buy something for $300, it's fine. But at times it is way more than that. So this is the platform. And as long as I do not scroll too long, all I hear is.
No, Unique. This one is okay. The platform I'm on is called Unique.fans.
Okay.
That's the one you should not go on. Unique One and Unique Photo. They have 3 platforms.
Yeah.
And they're all okay. And they're really nice people and everything. And it's like a non-profit kind of thing. It's not like they're very community driven. And the platform works really. I mean, itself, you can do a lot of things. You know, it's actually better than probably in terms of what it allows you to do than like Rarible or like OpenSea. You know, I really don't like what OpenSea does with the lazy minting. You know, that is really, that is not cool in my opinion. But that's another story. We don't want to go off on the ETH stuff, but I basically joined Ken Bosak and Stash and all those people saying that ETH is essentially not viable anymore at this point to do anything.
Yeah, like you can find a lot of really cool art on ETH. Like high quality things, very different kind of things than we can see on Wax.
Oh, absolutely.
I really do hope that we can get some kind of like this is something that you can find. It's a photograph that they have edited.
Right.
And like this is just one example that was on the front page. There are a lot of things that you can find here, but like I don't touch it. I have Ethereum. I do use Uniswap at times. I do hodl Ethereum for the future. But for NFTs, there are better ways to trade NFTs.
Yeah, I don't consider this to be a viable platform. As a matter of fact, even for token DeFi stuff, you know, at this point, you know, besides some of the obvious problems that the Binance Chain DeFi system suffers from, you know, i.e. flash loans draining like liquidity pools and stuff like that, Ethereum definitely is the more safe and more secure platform to be on, you know, but it's if you want to make smaller trade, it's just not viable anymore. I don't know what else to say, you know. I mean, there's nothing really you can do or say until they fix that problem. And that's the problem. When is it going to be fixed? Is it ever going to be fixed? No, we don't know.
No, we don't know. Yeah, it's very hard to know what's happening there. And okay, so Bun Whale is something that I since I got a warning from Dark Pinup, I'm not sure I will show Bun Whale, even though it's
PG-13, yeah.
Exactly, it's PG-13, but it's depending on who is reviewing it, it might not be. That is on Wax on Atomic Hub, and it is verified as well. And there are drops. You can actually find NFTs, and I linked it on Telegram when I shared this interview, and I think it is also in the YouTube description if I'm not mistaken, so you people can go and find it. I do own a few of those NFTs. No, the sale was not on in the description, but you can find it on Telegram. I own a few of them, and like it is highly skilled drawings, but it is very different from Chaos Moon, right?
Oh yeah. It's a vastly different thing. The difference is essentially that Chaos Moon will be very highly conceptual and very much a game, like we traditionally know. Bunveil, I would say, is a gamified sort of collection, and it won't really come to fruition until you get the daily updates. So the concept of Bunveil is essentially like that you get an episode every day in the life of the girls. And literally that will go on every day for as long as it will be somewhat successful. And the collection basically stands as it is. There's about 1.5 years worth of material. So it will be guaranteed that this is not something that's going to get cut off all of a sudden and then it disappears into nowhere's land. And the more I think about it, the more I think I probably need to make a website, because they live like in the Storm Beach house. And my vision is sort of like to have like a little metaverse Storm Beach house where certain things can happen. And it's sort of like PG-13 in American pinup way. So it's like, it's sort of like it all really happens in your imagination. There's nothing really shown. There's no nudity, you know, there's nothing. It's all teasing basically. And
there is a lot of teasing in an anime manga way.
Yeah, exactly. It would be like, exactly. It's not even like hentai or anything like that. You know, it would be like what you would see if you walk in Tokyo. You know, anybody who's been in Tokyo probably went to Akihabara. You know, where you see the big buildings with the anime girls on there. That could be like a Bonville girl. I mean, it's like this.
Yeah, and like this should be all fine to show. So there's nothing weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's very much Americana, basically, in terms of the style. I've done this when I was in America, and it's got very much that sort of American pin-up influence style. The only difference, though, is that it's ethnically based. So we have like 4 or 5 different ethnicities or like 5 different ethnically diverse girls, which ironically enough should actually be the flavor of the day these days. When in American pinup, you don't really see that. The pinup girl traditionally is always this classic blonde, sort of like Marilyn Monroe type of like that, whatever you consider to be your classic American pinup, and I always liked the sort of like the ethnic look of the diversity that brings. So we have an African American girl, we have an Asian girl, we got a Latina, we got an Irish redhead, like like that kind of, so very diverse kind of things. And that's kind of like, to me, that's sort of like where the appeal is, because nobody else, quite frankly, has ever done that. No, believe it or not, it does not. Yeah, there's people who draw like different things, but they always get hung up on one thing. See, that's the thing with the pinup thing. People, or like in general erotic art, they have like one fetish, and their whole life will be about that. Like the creator of Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman started, a lot of people don't know that, started as a bondage comic. And the guy was just hung up on bondage. That's all he did for his entire life. And I say, you know what? They're all beautiful in their own way, basically. But I think the collector should find the one that he really, or she, because quite frankly, there's a lot of women that buy that stuff too, that they really like.
Yeah. And I know that you told that to me before, that like the Banner Whale, most of the buyers that are female.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. This actually, that there's eventually that I will offer that again on the website. There's 2 books that have been published. And when I go like live, like I go on conventions or shows, or I see like who orders them online and stuff, it's almost always women. And a lot of times, because the quality of my art is such that it has something, it's erotic, but it's non-offensive, because it has a certain sort of like aesthetic aspect. I very much pay attention that the girls' faces look nice. There's no crooked eyes in there, or like crooked lips, or like a lot of times in erotic art, you see like nasty things, or like the teeth drawn in and stuff like that. There's like a lot of weird stuff that people do because they don't care. They just want to see big, what.
And most of us are like, I have never seen that. No.
So if you're really aesthetically pleasing, women react very strongly to that. And same with Chaos Moon. There's a lot of women and a lot of females that like that, because they're attracted basically to the strong female characters, but also to sort of like the aesthetic aspect of it,
Yeah. And that's very nice. And okay, so let's bring us back to what we are. There is something happening with Chaos Moon soon, right?
There's actually quite a few things happening. One of the things that actually just came to me last month, I wasn't even able to talk about this, and I have back here is when I got a phone call from a friend who's a curator in a museum, and he obtained over, can I see
There.
Over 110 original color pages of Chaos Moon that I've gotten and thought were lost in a bankruptcy thing 23 years ago. So with Chaos Moon having its 25th anniversary this year, I'm going to publish a 200-page collection of everything. Every comic and every short story and every pinup and every drawing that has ever been done basically will be in this book. And it will be a hardcover book, and there will be several editions, and one edition I will sell as an NFT. So that is a really interesting thing, because I have not seen a lot of publishers doing that kind of stuff. And NFTs for limited editions is a perfect use case.
Yeah, it is.
That's exactly what NFTs are all about, especially when you're dealing with publishing, where you can sell a book that's limited. Do you really know how many were printed? They're usually hand numbered. Yeah, I can publish a book and say, oh, there's 500 of them or 200 of them, but I printed 1,000 of them and sell those thousands on a site. You don't know. With an NFT, you sort of like, without the NFT, the book doesn't really have the value.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. That will come about towards the end of the year, the fall, because that will be the first time also that this edition will be published in English. We have a sold out French edition right now, which I have to reprint, and we have a German edition that is available. And there's actually several German editions. There's a color hardcover edition, and there's a paperback like collection. But this will be the first time in 25 years it will actually be published in the US, because originally it was in America, it was published in the US, and then it has never been reprinted since then. So the first time color in the US will be a nice hardcover collection, and that will definitely be a good thing. And coming around to the website, you will obviously also be able to buy this on the website. And one of the great things on the website I've just implemented is you can actually buy merch with wax. So there will be a lot of people that go to the website, they buy US dollars, or they come from like the comic book angle or something like that. But there will be a lot of people that come from the card game, from the wax thing. And so let's say it's somebody, for example, in a country that doesn't have easy access to US dollars or so, but they have a bag of wax. They say, oh yeah, I want to buy this t-shirt, I want to buy this book. You can use the same wax you bought the cards basically on the website. So I think that's I don't really see too many people doing that. So that's kind of like a little bit of an innovation.
No, there's a lot of people like you usually have a lot of middlemen to pay, and with the up and down, like the fluctuation of price of cryptocurrencies, a lot of people are not willing to take that risk.
Yeah, but see, I see this differently. I see this as part of the fun. It's sort of part of the crypto fun. It's like, no, I mean, you can't say, oh, no, we're selling crypto and you take US dollars. Come on. I mean, that's so lame. I mean, maybe there are reasons. I mean, I see this in wax all the time. It's like all those cards, like Robotech. Oh, no, you only take dollars. I'm like, no, come on. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I understand their point of view, but I also think they are wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I totally understand what they are doing. It is difficult for them to hold cryptocurrency on their balance sheet and things like that. But it can be solved. Go and solve it.
But you can bridge out. I mean, let's be honest.
You can have set up another organization that does the selling, that has that isn't publicly traded company. It's
to me, it sends the wrong signal. That's just me. I'm not a total diehard that I say, cryptocurrency over everything. I mean, but I do have my problem with the current fiat system. And but my problem is just basically, when you really go all in, you should go all in. That's what I'm saying. You share the risk. I mean, there's a risk for a collector too. I mean, somebody bought a Kaos card 2 months ago. Right now, his card is worth quite a bit less. It's a shared risk.
Yeah, it is. And that's why we do it. Like, the speculation is also where you can actually gain something from it. I mean, everyone in the wax ecosystem, if you could buy Alien Worlds land when they were sold for $60, you might have thought $60 for virtual land, that's expensive. But then you look at what they are priced at today, and everyone wished they bought some lands when they were sold. And that's what happens. Like, if you take Chaos Moon and you sell it now, and then you manage to build out the game that you want to build, you build a community that just grows, and over years moving forward, there's a lot of things that can happen that add value to the first collections.
Oh, absolutely. And considering the fact how long this project has already been around, there's no doubt it will be around for another 25 years. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, this very early collection, especially those gold cards, like 10 years down the road, you have no idea what kind of value that could have. Basically, it was like, look at the early Magic cards. I mean, it's the same thing. There's certain cards that are like extremely expensive.
Or Pokemon.
Or yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pokemon is even a better example. I mean, Pokemon was even more sort of like what do you call it? Like a value proposition than Magic cards. Magic cards probably had a little more utility even back at the time, where Pokemon is kind of like more like a cash grab, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how much fun you get out of playing that stuff, but I'm a little bit too old for Pokemon. I think that was one of the problems. And I see it like people that are like, remember when Pokemon came out, that was like mid-90s. I was that was actually when I was working on Chaos Moon. So Chaos Moon Pokemon, not exactly the same kind of thing,
It's kind of different.
It's kind of different, especially visually and everything like that, But the idea obviously is the next step is to really build out the whole infrastructure and environment thing. The first thing is really to get a really good website done. And the website's gotten so big now to the point where you can actually read all the comics online too. So I'll basically uploading a page every day. So if you come back every day, you can continue storing, but just implementing this, because I used to have a webcomic site, but the technology has changed so much, and to integrate it into your theme and stuff like that, it's doable, but it just takes time. And then the shop, I definitely want to have some kind of base merchandise stuff, some t-shirts, because I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming, a lot more YouTube stuff once I'm done with my freelance works. Just everybody, so I'm going to say this again. I told you that before. I have that overhang from February. I have to work down. This will take me until the middle of July until every single piece is worked off.
And when you say streaming, will that be when you are drawing or?
No, I don't do that. That is. I don't.
That is a big thing on Twitch. Like there are a lot of people that just sit and look when other people are drawing.
I don't think I want to. I mean, I don't know. Is it really a big thing? I mean, I see people on YouTube. Everybody keeps saying it's not working.
No, but I know that people are doing it on Twitch.
Okay.
I was looking at it just the other day.
I'll definitely have to look into that, But the idea really is to give sort of like more background on stuff and on a project, to really explain a little bit more like what's going on behind the scenes, and a little more about the storylines and stuff, because everything that I'm doing is sort of fairly deep. It's not really that superficial. It's not like, this one guy beats this guy, it's game over. There's literally world building, mythology type of things. You see some of this discussion I'm getting in with Telegram with some of the members. We have especially one member who's extremely interested in mythology and very knowledgeable about like all the Knights Templar and all that stuff. And there's like names of books are being thrown around, and like historical fact and this world, blah, blah. And this is a huge, big world. And then the next step basically is, and that we've talked about this briefly before, but so much has happened in those 2 months that I've really come to the conclusion. The next step, an absolute must, will be a DApp website where the game is actually playable and the utility can be added. That is also part of the Sky God's even more so basically, because you have the whole universe.
Yeah.
You can push that to, you can alien worlds and then times 10. You can never stop with that. You just keep adding planets, you keep adding worlds, you keep adding characters. It will never end. With Chaos Moon, you're a little bit more restricted, which is not bad, which is actually good, because you got to focus on the details. But that's really the next step, and then really tie it all together basically with a utility token.
Yeah. Right now, I just checked on Twitch. There are people with over 1,000 viewers looking at them just drawing art on their computer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know.
Of course, that's the big one. There are a lot of them, and some of them have 0 or 10 or 5 people watching, but you have to start, right? So it's like I was going to join a project that was going to do a lot of things in that area, but it got shut down because one of the guy is not with us anymore, which is kind of sad. But really, it's very sad. But yeah, that would have been an NFT focused, very artsy way of like there are a lot of artists all over the world that are in the, like, you don't know about it. Everyone working on all the big movies, there's a lot of people that are highly talented that people have no idea who they are.
Absolutely.
In Marvel, in Disney, in all of these things. And the plan was he had contacts and wanted to help them reach out with their NFTs and working with Twitch streamers and things like that. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the question is sort of like, how do I want to represent myself? It's always the thing I struggle on social media. Do I want to put myself up front, or do you want to put the project up front?
Yeah.
Which one is more important? You can say people go by your project because of you as a character, as a person, of what you have done. On the other hand, what really should matter in the long run, is like you said, you see Walt Disney's name, but the 9 old men that created the early Walt Disney movies, how many people know their names?
No,
Nobody.
Know the product.
It's the 9 old men, but you don't know their individual names, basically. But they created great things. And sort of like, to me, the longer I really think about it, the more I think sort of like the sum of it all supersedes me as a personality.
Yeah, and also if you go and stream things like that, you have to be ready to put in a lot of time. Like
That's a
there's a
problem.
yeah, you really have to be committed to doing that for a long time to actually make anything out of it.
That's one of the reasons why I wasn't able to do anything yet, because that with these freelance jobs, I'll tell you what it is. It's 2 commercials, 2 animated commercials. It takes so much time to do this, to draw every frame and the whole compositing. I'm like a mini animation studio here by myself and doing everything with high-end software, but it still takes a lot of time. And
Yeah.
there's just not like 2 hours that I can, or 3 hours I can take to stream. Now, also on YouTube, to build up a following, streaming is not the way to go. You're much better off making shorter videos, and
Yep.
then at some point switch to streaming once you have a really good following,
Or both. Like there's a lot of ways to do it. You just need to be consistent with what you're doing.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing. Always do it at the same time.
And yeah, so with Chaos Moon, how many chapters are there?
5.
And we have seen 3.
We have seen 3. So we're up to a card about 45 now of 86. So there will be about 20 cards, roughly about 20 cards each. So, well, we have these mid-chapter cards, like in between the chapters, so there will be a few more cards there. So it's got to be about each 20, which is more or less what we have had in the past, and then sort of like you have like the base layout of whatever will be playable.
And let's bring our conversation to the game, and there will be a rule book.
Correct.
And that is not far away.
That is not far away at all. No, that will come with the website. It will be displayed on a website, and it will be an alpha version, basically, where people can put in feedback. Yeah, I mean, you got to test that stuff. I mean, that's it. I got a few people locally I can use to test stuff that are experienced players, but there's so many details. I mean, you should see the stack of notes and writing and stuff like that I've done. It's to make it all fit and have the whole backstory work and make it different. See, this is the thing, I want to make it different enough, but still familiar enough. So I'm not copying something completely. So I'm taking base elements. I don't know if you've seen the post I've put in your chat about the early Magic stuff. I was in the beginning very, very, very early on in the Magic thing when I was working on comics for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm familiar with the basic thing, but I want it to be different. So I'm looking for ways, how can I make this different? How can I put more storyline and story playing into it, basically, so it doesn't become a full role play game, because that's not what I want. And I want to be a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing. So it's sort of like should be playable within about 15 to 20 minutes, per session. So you're not sitting there for hours on end. But it shouldn't be over like in 2 minutes either.
Yeah.
So especially with some of the cards, that you have to find that balancing act. Like let's say you have a Gate Gold, for example, which is probably the most powerful card in a game. You can just escape out of everything. But you also have to have the possibility to block that somehow, even by a small chance. Otherwise, game will be over.
Yeah. And we have some John 1985 is in the chat, and he's very excited. He didn't know about the game, so
oh really?
Can we somehow describe how the game will work? How people will play it?
Yes, I mean, eventually, like I said, there will be a tab where you'll be able to log in and bring in the cards, and then the way I'm looking at this right now is like how I'm going to make the interface to keep the atmosphere and keep the storyline going, basically. I'm sort of like thinking at possibly having multiple storylines, things that you can choose, like pick your own adventure type of thing. And you can play that, against other people or, by yourself. But it's hard, of course, it will be a card game. That's why we have like the listing of like the powers that is very similar to basically what Magic the Gathering has. But my point is essentially like, what do we get out of it at the end? So I'm trying to look for a solution in terms of like, what will the winning be? That's where like the reward token comes in. So you're sort of like not playing just for shits and giggles. So you're actually playing to get something that's viable and that you can trade, or that you can trade in for other goods. But again, last time we talked, 2 years ago, it feels like
It feels like 2 years ago.
2 months. Freudian slip. 2 months ago, basically. A lot of those thoughts were just basically in their infancy. And now they're sort of like pretty fleshed out to the point where within a couple of months we'll have this playable, and within about 3 or 4 months we'll have this reward token where you can actually cash in your winnings. Maybe not, it depends on liquidity, but not in real cash, but at least in rewards. And, of course, stake stuff. And, it really kind of like depends on whatever the dev's also going to bring to the project,
Yeah. And people can see here the stats are on the cards,
Exactly.
on
So
the back and everything.
it's actually kind of interesting when you go to the very bottom there where it says alchemical status. Now, this is a metal card. Usually, those are like the creature cards. They come in metal and regular. And the alchemical status will just basically, in terms of pointage, you don't see that on the actual card, but that will be noted in a rule book. It will just add extra power to it. So the gold card will, although it's a legendary card, will have a little bit more power than a silver card than a regular card. But the idea is that everybody should be able to afford the game by buying the regular cards at a decent cost. It shouldn't cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to put a whole set together, and you don't need the whole set to play. I'm going to make it so that you could probably play with like half of the set, but of course it will be a lot more fun once you have like all the cards together, or you have more cards to choose from, because the way you're going to put the deck together will depend on how well you're going to play. If you play against somebody who has never looked at the rule book and just pulls cards basically out of their butts, you're most likely going to win.
So my collection will do good.
You will do, yes. You will probably only be out. Nah, you and Tommy, you might possibly be up there. You'll definitely.
I know that Crouton is also. He has a lot of.
He actually just before he's trying to find some more gold cards in a secondary market, but I think there's only one guy really selling some.
Yeah, I know that he's based in Australia, so he asked me for the Chapter 2 sale. Hey, I gotta sleep now. I can't stay up anymore. If you can you try to buy this one card for me? And I'm like, yeah, I will try it. And I did, so that's good.
What I can say, what is very, very going to be very important to me is the overall. You see already like the graphic design. I'm paying a lot of attention to the overall look and feel of it. We have like a nice border, like a nice like shamanic border. The back cards, they're all different depending on the alchemical status. They have like this magical symbols. So I'm really like, I really want to exactly. That's like the Chinese dragon. We're trying to create really sort of like this nice atmosphere. That's very, very important. So when you go on a website, basically, and you look at the rule book, it will look like a professionally made book, like you would get it from Wizards of the Coast or Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. It won't just be like, like a word, like, whatever, a Medium post or like a word file or anything like that. It will perfectly design. I'm very experienced in book printing because I've printed so many books, and I'm probably going to do a hardcover version of it too, like a printed version, that you can hold in your hands, just as a collector's thing, maybe with some special comic in there. But the atmosphere is very, very important. I mean, that's going to be one of the separating things, because at the end of the day, a lot of the card games and their mechanics, they're very, very similar. But, we're like, what is it called? The War. Damn, I was asking to draw some cards for them and I forgot the name. Warcraft. No, Warcraft? Yeah, World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to paint some cards and I wasn't able to do it because the deadline wasn't working. And Magic.
I'm the biggest Warcraft fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Warcraft 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like Warcraft 3, I have probably played I don't know, 10,000 hours, 15,000 hours. I don't know. I play that game so much. It's crazy. I used to compete in it and everything.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Uh, that was before esports was huge. It was one of the games that started to be big on esport.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that so I like Warcraft. That's my jam, and then we go into Starcraft, and then we go like World of Warcraft is also fun. But for me, that is not a game where you play against other people, even though you can. It's not an
Hmm.
esport. People will hate me for it, but it's an like it's a RPG. It's fun to go and play and level and fight people, but it's not an esport.
No,
But
absolutely not.
but they play it as an esport and they are highly skilled. Those people that do it. And then we have a lot of games there. So I'm very sad to hear that you didn't have time to do it because that would have made
Yeah,
my day.
it was a good offer. It was a good offer. It was actually came to me, I think, from a guy who I used to work for, at Wizards of the Coast, and he went to Warcraft, and he remembered me, and he wanted me to do some work, but I wasn't able to do it. I remember what this is a while ago. It was maybe 10 years, 12 years ago. I remember what the circumstances were. But at that point, basically, Warcraft sort of like has its mythology with the orcs and that sort of like that fantasy mythology thing. And with Chaos Moon, it's very important to me, basically, that the mythology is something that has not really existed. We don't really have too many occult games that play with mythology. Whereas like Sky Gods is more the world of aliens and
Yeah,
extraterrestrials and all that kind of stuff. We have a few aliens in here because you just can't live without them. But here it's much more shamanic stuff, casting spells, rituals, those kind of things. The Aleister Crowley, a little demonic, a little satanic, borderline satanic. Some people they saw the Baphomet card, they're like, oh no, this is like so scary, bringing bad luck to me. It's like it's a card at the end of the day. But of course, that world is fascinating, and I really want to create that type of mythology that really hasn't been done before. That's very important to me, and it's something I personally, a lot of people always keep asking, especially with the Sky Gods thing. I get so many DMs from people. It's like, how do you know all these things about those aliens and all that stuff? It's like, yeah, I've been researching stuff for like almost 40 years. I mean, since my little kid, when I was 10 years old, I started reading paranormal and alien books and stuff like that, and this has been my world. So it's not like I'm making this up out of nowhere. Just sort of like
then we have the real question:
yeah.
or has there been aliens on Earth?
Oh boy, oh boy, don't get me started on this. Well, actually, today the U.S. government supposedly is going to announce that what they know about aliens. But besides that, of course, the answer is absolutely of course. It's like Sky Gods. The subtitle is "They were always, we were never alone." So that should say everything.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's a very fun topic because it
Oh,
quickly
it is.
goes into philosophy.
Everything. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Where do we come from? I mean, that's literally the age-old, most difficult to answer question. That nobody really has an answer. I mean, every religion basically has been created on the base fact of where is our origin, and every religion has an origin story in terms of like where do we come from, and let's be honest, nobody really has a satisfactory answer, in my opinion. Of course, now people are going to come and say, oh, you're a heretic, blah blah blah
you will
blah
be
blah blah.
doomed now.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're really looking at it from a rational mind, and you're looking at it from the outside and looking at a I can't say it, at the gallery of all things that exist and that people have been told, I don't see a satisfactory answer. It's maybe a mishmash of several ones. Maybe we're not supposed to understand.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, no, but I think it's good, and also you can. No, yeah, I think it's good, and I don't think we need to go into that conversation further, even
No,
though it's
no,
just
this
kind
is
of
the wrong
fun.
thing. We can do that when the Sky Gods have the lunches.
Exactly. So, okay, short term, what is happening with all your collections?
Short term, next thing we're going to see the website, the rule book.
Do we have a date for that, or
as soon as I'm happy with it, but within the next 2 weeks. I mean, that's I can't say the precise date, but I'm so into it right now that it will be forthcoming. I definitely want to get it out before chapter 4. Then right now, as of this minute, in the Telegram and on Twitter, there is a contest to win a free mid-chapter card, one of 15 cards. So all you have to do is just go there, leave your wax address basically in the comments, of the pinned post. Then somewhere mid-month we'll probably see chapter. It will probably be like between mid-month and the 20th, like last month. We'll see chapter 4.
Yeah.
Bonneville, I just announced that we'll have a few specials coming out now until September, and September when the college year starts, we'll start basically with the girls getting enrolled in regular daily episodes from then on, because that just works out really, really well. And it gives me a little bit more time to sort of refine the concept, build the website and get people a little bit more interested in it. And Sky Gods, we don't know yet. This is still the same status as last time. It's sort of like the calm before the storm. It's pending and waiting to hear from a major blockchain, and if that project goes through, that will be, it will be great because it all plays in together. Basically, a lot of the experience I've collected now from those things, and also I will be able to hire a larger group of devs that will help with all the other projects, of course, too. Because they can all be tied up together.
Yeah.
The good news is that a lot of work already has been done, especially on Sky Gods. I mean, I got probably about a couple thousand drawings, like of aliens and characters and stuff like that can be reused. So I really basically on that project, I basically need mostly environmental artists, because I'm not really that great with backgrounds. It's kind of like my.
Is it okay if I speculate, because I can't get rid of it on the chain that you will will come on? It will be on the Binance NFT chain.
No, it's not. No,
Damn.
No.
You mentioned it earlier. I'm like, the timing.
I mentioned
right
what
now
I'm going to do with Binance. I'm going to put my manga stuff on there. I have a whole collection of manga stuff, vampires.
Nice.
Jakes love that stuff, and they're really nice watercolor vampires. So this is perfect, because think about what is Binance going to do for the NFT market. Binance is going to bring Asia to the NFTs. There has been no real chain that has really made a big dent in Asia. Binance is ideally, for better or worse. I'm not really saying this is all good, basically. But there's not only is there a tremendous amount of talent in Asia, that will be very interesting to see how much. I mean, I expect if Binance, they're saying they're coming in June. Let's say they announce it by the end of this week. It will start like middle of next week, maybe following week. I foresee that within about a month, they'll have 1 million to 2 million NFTs up.
Yeah, it will probably go fast. We will see. It's very exciting. I'm very excited to see what happens there. Yeah, and I can agree with Danish Crypto. He's in the chat. His name is Anders, so that's also good. But he says that David here is so real. That you are there's no bullshit. You just say what's up.
Oh yeah, it's always been like this. I'm Aries, it's like say it like how it is.
That's very good.
And says like it is.
Yeah.
No BS. Yeah, okay.
No bullshit. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, and I'm holding back actually.
Probably for the better. No, I don't know.
Well, look, I mean, you can be opinionated about stuff. It doesn't have to be bad, but you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, look at someone like Charles Hoskinson. I mean, he's not holding back for better or worse. He's not making a lot of friends. No. I don't have a problem with any person per se. My problems all come with mostly corporations, and I can say that as a corporate. I'm not corporate, but I worked as a freelancer for a lot of corporations, and I can tell you it has been very unsatisfactory experience as a whole, because yes, for the moment while you're working on a job, it is very important, but you're not really being treated. That there's like this whole human aspect that is missing. It's
the ones with that making the decisions are too far from what is happening.
yeah, on one hand, doesn't what I really don't like, I notice more and more. It's one of the reasons why I really want to do this full time, really work on my projects full time after I'm done with my freelance job. Is that like in the especially I can say this with the watch company, for example. There's just too many people looking at stuff, and
Yeah,
it's like you see this with Hollywood movies too. It's with a lot of Hollywood movies. They're not bad because they're bad movies. They're made bad because too many people put in 5 cents.
yeah.
It's like the more people, and that's one of the reasons why I like working either as a dictator with a team or I like working by myself. I think committee destroys things to some degree, unless you get an extreme balance. But if you look at look, which is the highest grossing movie of the last 15 years other than the Avengers?
Probably something with the Rock in, but I don't know.
No, 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 no. It's Avatar.
Oh yeah, it is.
And Jim Cameron is an insufferable person, probably. He's a total dictator. And the movie isn't particularly great, but it's a singular vision. He was able to make that singular vision because he put down his hammer and he says, I am not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do what I think is right. And he succeeded. He made the most successful movie of all time.
And it's a great movie, and there is a lot of fun clips about it. And I don't know if this is real or just a rumor, but is there a second one coming?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a second and third one. They shot them at the same time.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, the question, of course, is like, this can go both ways. The thing with Cameron is that every time he makes a movie, there's some innovation. Remember when the Terminator came out, it was like, oh man, these special effects, it's like unbelievable. And then when Avatar came out, everybody went, oh, this is like these, worlds is unbelievable, and now
Everyone is on acid.
yeah, exactly. And now the second one supposedly is going to be underwater. And supposedly there's some big innovation. He has to bring in something that makes it groundbreaking and different. He can't just keep repeating the same thing, especially because Avatar as a concept, it's questionable on how great the thing really is as a standalone concept. Like Star Wars, for example. Star Wars, for better or worse, has been hammered into the ground over the years. I mean, literally. I mean, they have not done this project any favors, and it's still around. That shows to some degree on how good the actual original 3 movies were, that 20 years later, after doing everything wrong, it's still standing.
I love all of them.
Oh, really?
I do see that they are not as good anymore, but I still love them. I don't know. I think it's a romanticized picture of that story and environment and everything. But I watch all the Star Wars movies multiple times, even the new ones. First time I watched the last few Star Wars movies, I was not a fan of them. Then when I watched them again, I kind of like them. So I don't know, but it's
that
is
the age difference between you and me.
And also, like, if what I usually do, I don't compare it with what I was here before. So I don't compare it to the first, second, and third movie. Well, the fourth, fifth, or sixth, or depending on how you look at it. I don't compare it to them. I see it as new movies in the same ecosystem.
But it matters how. It's the same with music. Basically, it matters the chronology of things and how you got exposed to it. Because I was a little kid when the first Star Wars movie came out, and I don't know how you had it in Sweden, but here in Switzerland it was very difficult at the time to be able to go see movies that you're actually below the age rating. They would literally control your IDs and everything. It's crazy. Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I see in the States, I say 3 years in Batman movies. These Batman movies are not children's movies. A 3-year-old has no business to see a Christopher Nolan Batman movie, and they bring him. They have no common sense. But here it's sort of like my father literally had to smuggle me into Star Wars because I was too little. And you see the first movie, it was mind-blowing. It was unbelievable. You can never recreate that feeling. And everything that comes thereafter, it cannot live.
Exactly.
So
it will never live up to that experience and expectations. And I guess for me, I saw them on a TV and it wasn't the same thing. And the first big Star Wars movie was the first one. Well, the fourth one, the first, depending on how you look at the Star Wars.
Right. Episode
Exactly.
1.
Yeah,
Episode
so that
4,
that was the first Star Wars movie out of my age that I actually saw in a cinema. So I guess
But
that
did you
is the
see the
base layer
remake
for me.
version or the original version? Because remember,
Uh,
Lucas added some special effects to it.
I have seen both of them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, if you compare the effects and the experience, the new movies with the old ones, it's not the same. I mean, the stories in the new ones, I know I can say before this is gonna happen now. It is so like
It's Disney. Hello.
yeah, there is no surprises anywhere, nothing at all. Like no, but still, it's good entertainment.
The problem really is when you're creating stuff, and it's sort of like the magic happens through the struggle. Once the struggle is gone, there is no more magic. And you see that
Yeah.
in music, you see it in films, like music, for example. Look at Metallica. I'm not the biggest Metallica fan, but again, I was there when they came out first. I was a teenager, and it was interesting. It was really exciting. And look at the kind of posers they are today.
Yeah.
Rich guys that even James Hetfield, I think he said on one, oh, we're a family band now for the children. I was like, come on, what are you talking about? I was like, what's going on here? This is Metallica. It's like becomes a kindergarten club band. Hello. And it's like once you have everything, you have all the money and you have your families and you have your rehabs, there's no more anger. There's no more there's no more desire, to do good stuff. Why would you?
Yeah. No,
That's
but
what
yeah,
Star Wars.
it is very very difficult to maintain the reason why, like the purpose of why you're doing it when your
Absolutely.
circumstances changes.
Absolutely.
And we see that everywhere with success. People change to the better or to the worse, and it's big changes or small changes.
Absolutely. It's inevitable. Well, change is inevitable anyway, basically.
Yeah.
But to recreate something, I don't even know if it's worthwhile, because things that are in the past are in the past. Sometimes it's better to let go. I have the musicians that say, hey, you know what? I've done my best work. I'm going to retire now. That's it. I have respect for them, because the fact is that almost everybody that puts out, of the legacy bands that puts out new music, it doesn't live up, even remotely live up to what they used to do in their heyday.
Athletes talk about that as well. Like a lot of them probably should stop in their prime to be remembered for what they were. But some of them just love what they are doing and they continue. But a lot of them, when they start to decline, they get depressed, and like suicide is very big with athletes, and that is very sad. Yeah. I study sports psychology, so that's one thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. You told me that. Yeah.
I had a lot of time in doing. But enough with that. What is this?
Oh!
What? What happened there? What happened there? I don't know.
That's a pimped out Anyobservation card.
Yeah. And I think we should just leave it at that. I don't think people need to know more right now.
Okay.
We can talk about, like, there is something coming soon. There are a lot of moving balls right now, and I hope to have it done in 2 weeks. But at the same time, if people followed me my Telegram chat, I am buying a farm right now. So I am, like, a lot of my time is going to bank stuff and boring legal stuff and
sheep and goats.
Man, there's a lot of time going to things that I usually spend on creating videos and NFT things. But there are something coming with this card, together with other things, and it will not be sold. People will not be able to buy it. It will come at a cost, whatever that cost is. Exactly, and yeah, I don't know how much I should drop it. I have done some teases on some live streams, but this is probably as big as it should get, and it's great. Like, there are some amazing things being created for it by amazing artists like David. And when the time comes, when all the details are out, that will more of it will be released. But I am doing a collaboration with Nifty Blocks to make everything happen. Which probably when that is done, David will be happy for it as well, because it will be available for more people.
Oh wow! Well, you can't say anything, even a hint.
Yeah, I guess I can. Like, there will be packs. There will be packs, and there will be pre-minted packs. And they are creating tools to make the pre-minted packs available for everyone to create.
Oh.
Exactly. So everyone will be able to do it, and they are not creating the pre-minted packs to help me. However, I have some customized things that they say, okay, let's work it out. Let's create it. Let's work together on this, and I'm very grateful for that. Like with everything, I try to work with people and live like collaboration, lift up each other. What can we do together? Make it more fun. So yeah, there will be packs, and as I said, they will not be sold, but they will come at a cost.
Whatever that means. What, want my firstborn? I don't have one.
I want your kidney.
I already gave one.
Damn it.
Yeah, can't give you my second one, fortunately.
Yeah. No, but there is a benefit to having slices.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So that's.
So do we have a time frame? Do you know when this is gonna hit?
I hope to have it in the same time frame as your website.
Oh, okay.
Which is within 2 weeks, but I am not sure that everything will be done within 2 weeks. But I hope there are a lot of balls moving outside of what I can force.
Right.
Yeah. So depending when a few things are done, but yeah, this will be nice.
Okay, that sounds really excellent. Looking forward to it.
We will be able to push a lot of fun things there, hopefully.
Oh, I mean, look, I mean, the reality is that as great as Wax is for what it is right now, there is a lot of things that can be improved.
Yeah.
We all know that. There's always, you can never stand still, and it can be much, much better. Always.
Yeah, and we need people to create things that everyone can use, like Nifty Blocks is doing. I mean, there has to be tools that people like you can use, because you can create art, you can do amazing things, you can build a concept, a story, everything. But if you also have to put all the money into devs, then that becomes a very big hurdle to pass to even get into the market. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's one thing for a dev to create something like for myself, like a little DApp or something like that, where you can play the game. But it's another thing for a dev to create a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is really, yeah. I think my biggest gripe is really the user interface and Atomic Hub. It just needs to be improved. I think they need to put everything behind that, because that's really, I think, what's holding it back from complete greatness.
Yeah.
Because new people are coming in, they're not getting, it's hard to get into.
Yeah, there is. You have to, like, my video on how to create NFTs has 12,000 views now.
See?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's 12,000 on it. And when you know how to do it, it's kind of straightforward. But until you know where to go, what to enter, how it works, it's very difficult.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like just look.
My most viewed video is how to unstake Wax, which is a one button thing. But it's like, if you don't know what to do, it's very difficult. And then it takes 3 days to have it done. So like, people panic. I unstake, but I didn't get my Wax. What happened? Yeah, it takes 72
hours. I remember you're saying that in the video. It takes 72 hours, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, that's it's for good reasons, but it's painful if you do not know what will happen.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
We have been on here for 1.5 hours. I guess we
Oh
we
wow.
should yeah. There's been a long conversation about everything you have done. Well, a lot of things you have done, not everything. And Chaos Moon, NFTs, and Star Wars, and a lot of fun things. Uh, if people want to find you, where should they focus on finding you? Where can they interact with you?
I mean, I got a sort of like pseudo corporate homepage, which is a virtual-graphics.ch,
Yeah.
which is sort of like I'm gonna. This is sort of like a site work in progress that will be much improved. As you pointed out, there's a mistake in a social media thing, so I'm gonna fix that. So there's a lot because I'm working on 3-4 websites at the same time. But I have social media for each project. Basically, you could literally just go there, type it in. I also have a YouTube channel, Virtual Graphics. I have a YouTube channel for Sky Gods, which actually has quite a few subscribers. So I suppose you can also type in my name into Google. Most stuff will just come up.
Yeah. And like your website, your Telegram, Twitter, Instagram, everything is linked in the YouTube video description.
Yeah, super excellent. So there's
so
a good.
people can find it, and if they find your Telegram, they will be able to ask a question and get whatever answer
Exactly.
they need.
Exactly.
So that's good. Do we have anything else we should mention before we wrap this up, David?
No, I think I'm good. We've talked for an hour and a half. Of course, we could always talk more, but I think it kind of ran its course at this point. I think we did all the important thing. And like I said, we'll reconvene again in a few months, a few years, respectively. Felt like a few years.
Exactly.
And I'm sure the situation will be completely different than it is right now. Whatever I said today is probably going to be more or less obsolete, or it has been all going to be created, and there will be lots. But like I said, it looks very, very optimistic, everything, and as long as I keep building one brick on top of the other brick, nothing really can go wrong.
Yeah. I think that's a great way out. I think people should go and look at your collection. Chaos Moon is very interesting on wax. There's a lot of good art. Your account is selling a lot of them on the wax marketplace. So you can find them, and if you go there and buy them, you buy directly from David, so he gets all the proceeds.
You know what you're getting. Yeah. I have not seen any pirated stuff yet. Did you see any?
I have not yet.
Exactly.
it's coming when it takes off.
I've been spared, thank God. I've been sort of like been spared from that kind of horrible. Yeah, I feel the pain for the people who that has happened to. And I hope it's not going to happen to me, but eventually, who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for being on here again, and thank you for all your good work as always. As the wax guru #1.
Yeah, we will see. There's a lot of people coming, which is very fun, but I do love all of this. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. And thank you and peace.
Yeah, peace out.
My Bitcoin bowl is all I have.